What if I told you that your presence here, right now, isn't random? What if the restless feeling you've been carrying, that sense that something bigger is stirring beneath the surface of your everyday life, led you to this exact moment? You didn't stumble upon this video by accident. You called it to you. There's something happening in your life right now that you might not have fully recognized yet. Maybe it's been building for weeks, months, or even years. It's that subtle but persistent feeling that the universe is trying to tell you something important, and every seemingly random event is actually a carefully orchestrated message designed specifically for you. Take a breath right here with me. Feel that recognition stirring in your chest? That's your soul confirming what I'm about to share with you. Because what I'm going to reveal in the next few minutes will help you decode the language the universe has been speaking to you all along. This isn't just another video about manifestation. This is your personal invitation to step into a reality where nothing is coincidence, and everything is calling you forward. The truth is, you're not here by chance. Your higher self, your inner wisdom, the part of you that exists beyond the noise of daily life, guided you here because you're ready. Ready to understand the 5 unmistakable signs that the universe is actively working with you to manifest your deepest desires. And I promise you this, by the time we're done, you'll never look at your life the same way again. If you're feeling that flutter of anticipation, that sense that this message arrived at exactly the right time, I want you to do something that honors that inner knowing. Subscribe to this channel right now. Not because I'm asking you to, but because your intuition is already telling you that this space holds keys you've been searching for. When you subscribe, you're essentially saying yes to receiving more of these cosmic downloads, more of these perfectly timed messages that seem to speak directly to your soul. The universe speaks in whispers before it speaks in shouts, and those whispers have been getting louder lately, haven't they? You've probably noticed an increase in what most people call coincidences. But here's what I know to be true: there are no coincidences, only confirmations. Every number sequence you keep seeing, every song that plays at just the right moment, every person who shows up with exactly the words you needed to hear, these are all part of an intricate web of guidance designed to support your evolution. The first sign that the universe is actively manifesting with you is what I call the portal of disruption. This might sound counterintuitive, but bear with me. When everything in your life seems to be falling apart, when structures you thought were permanent suddenly crumble, when plans dissolve and paths close, this isn't punishment. This is preparation. Your soul knows things your conscious mind doesn't. It knows that to receive what you've been asking for, you first need space. And sometimes, the only way to create that space is through what appears to be destruction. But destruction and creation are 2 sides of the same cosmic coin. The universe doesn't remove something from your life unless it's preparing to give you something infinitely better. Think about a forest fire. To the trees, it feels catastrophic. But from the perspective of the forest ecosystem, fire clears away the old growth, enriches the soil, and creates the perfect conditions for new life to flourish. Your life works the same way. Those endings you've been grieving? They're actually beginnings in disguise. You might be experiencing this right now. Maybe a relationship ended that you thought would last forever. Maybe a job you were comfortable in suddenly disappeared. Maybe a living situation changed unexpectedly. Maybe old friendships are naturally fading away. If any of this resonates, pause and breathe deeply. What you're experiencing isn't rejection from the universe, it's redirection. The portal of disruption always comes with a gift, but you have to trust the process long enough to receive it. And here's the beautiful thing: the disruption is always proportional to the blessing that's coming. The bigger the shake-up, the more significant the upgrade that's being prepared for you. But there's something even more profound happening beneath the surface of these disruptions. Something that most people miss entirely because they're too focused on the chaos to see the pattern. The second sign is what I call the language of synchronicity, and this is where the universe starts speaking to you in ways that bypass your logical mind completely. You know those moments when you think of someone and they text you within minutes? When you desperately need guidance and a book falls open to exactly the right page? When you're struggling with a decision and every billboard, every overheard conversation, every random encounter seems to be offering you the same message? This isn't your imagination playing tricks on you. This is the universe's way of confirming that you're tuned into the right frequency. Synchronicity is the language of alignment. It's how your higher self communicates with your human self, showing you that you're on the right path even when that path feels uncertain. The more you acknowledge these synchronicities, the more they multiply. It's as if the universe is saying, "Oh, you're paying attention now? Let me show you just how connected everything really is. Numbers start following you: 1111, 222, 333. Songs carry messages that feel like they were written for your exact situation. Strangers say things that echo thoughts you had just hours before. Books literally fall into your hands at exactly the right moment. But here's what makes this even more powerful. Synchronicity isn't just confirmation. It's also guidance. Each meaningful coincidence is an invitation to pay attention, to trust, to take action. When the same message comes to you 3 different ways in one day, the universe isn't being subtle anymore. It's practically shouting, "This is important. Listen. Act." I remember speaking with someone who kept seeing white feathers everywhere during one of the most difficult periods of her life. On her car windshield, on her doorstep, even indoors in places where feathers shouldn't logically appear. She later learned that in many spiritual traditions, white feathers are considered messages from angels or departed loved ones, signs that you're being watched over and protected. But here's the thing, it didn't matter what the traditional interpretation was. What mattered was that these feathers brought her comfort during a time when she felt completely alone. The universe was using a symbol her soul could recognize to remind her that she was never truly abandoned. The language of synchronicity is deeply personal. What speaks to your soul might not speak to someone else's, and that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Your signs are designed specifically for you, using the symbols and meanings that resonate with your unique spiritual fingerprint. And speaking of uniqueness, if this feels like it's describing experiences you've been having, if you're recognizing your own life in these words, hit that subscribe button now. Because this recognition you're feeling? It's confirmation that you're part of a community of souls who are all awakening to this deeper way of seeing life. When you subscribe, you're not just following a channel, you're joining a frequency, a collective of people who understand that life is far more magical and meaningful than we were taught to believe. As you become more fluent in the language of synchronicity, you'll start to notice something even more beautiful emerging. The third sign that the universe is actively manifesting with you is what I call the magnetic pull of purpose. This is when you start feeling an inexplicable draw towards certain people, places, opportunities, or experiences that don't necessarily make logical sense but feel absolutely right in your body. Have you ever had the experience of walking into a bookstore with no particular book in mind, only to find yourself gravitatically pulled toward a specific section, a specific shelf, a specific book that ends up containing exactly the information you needed? Or maybe you felt compelled to take a different route home from work one day, and on that route you ran into someone who ended up becoming significant in your life? This magnetic pull is your intuition working in partnership with universal intelligence. Your soul knows things before your mind does, and it's constantly guiding you toward experiences and connections that will support your highest good. But this requires a level of trust that our logical, safety-seeking minds often resist. The magnetic pull of purpose often asks you to do things that don't make immediate sense. It might whisper, "Take that class," even though you can't afford it. It might suggest, "Message that person," even though you haven't spoken in years. It might insist, "Apply for that opportunity," even though you don't meet all the requirements. This pull becomes stronger when you're in alignment with your authentic self and your true desires. It's as if the universe starts using your own energy field as a homing device, drawing to you exactly what you need when you need it. But here's the key, you have to be willing to follow the pull, even when it feels scary or uncertain. I once heard about someone who felt an inexplicable urge to attend a conference in a city she'd never been to, for a topic she was only mildly interested in. The ticket was expensive, she'd have to take time off work, and she couldn't rationally justify it. But the pull was so strong that she eventually surrendered and went. At that conference, she met her future business partner, discovered a career path that would transform her life, and connected with a community that became her chosen family. None of that would have happened if she had listened to her logical mind instead of her magnetic pull. The universe is always conspiring to bring you into contact with people, resources, and opportunities that will accelerate your growth and support your dreams. But you have to be willing to move when you feel that magnetic pull, even when you can't see the full picture yet. This willingness to trust and follow your inner guidance leads naturally to the fourth sign, which might be the most powerful of all. The fourth sign that the universe is actively manifesting with you is what I call the alchemy of trust. This is when you develop an unshakable knowing that you're being supported, even in moments when external evidence suggests otherwise. It's a deep cellular confidence that no matter what appears to be happening on the surface, everything is working in your favor. This isn't blind optimism or spiritual bypassing. This is a mature understanding that the universe operates on a much larger timeline than your immediate desires, and that sometimes what feels like a no is actually a not yet, or I have something even better for you. The alchemy of trust shows up as an ability to remain centered during uncertainty. While others around you might be panicking about external circumstances, you find yourself surprisingly calm, somehow knowing that everything will work out. You start to notice that every time you've trusted the process in the past, even when it was difficult, things have ultimately worked out in ways that exceeded your original expectations. This sign often emerges after you've been through several cycles of disruption and renewal. You've seen enough evidence of the universe's timing and wisdom that you start to relax into a deeper faith. You begin to understand that your job isn't to control outcomes, but to stay aligned with your truth and take inspired action when it's called for. The alchemy of trust transforms your relationship with waiting. Instead of seeing delays as obstacles, you start to recognize them as preparation periods. You understand that divine timing isn't about the universe making you wait unnecessarily. It's about orchestrating circumstances in such a way that when your manifestation arrives, you're ready to receive it and everything aligns perfectly. This trust also changes how you handle challenges. Instead of seeing problems as evidence that you're off track, you start to see them as course corrections. You develop what I like to call spiritual peripheral vision, the ability to see the bigger picture even when you're in the middle of a difficult chapter. But perhaps most importantly, the alchemy of trust teaches you to trust yourself. You start to honor your intuition even when it contradicts popular opinion. You begin to make decisions based on your inner knowing rather than external validation. You develop the courage to disappoint others in order to remain true to yourself. This self-trust is magnetic. When you stop seeking approval and start honoring your authentic path, you naturally attract people and opportunities that are aligned with your true self. You stop trying to fit into spaces that were never meant for you, and you start creating or finding spaces where you can be fully expressed. And this brings us to the fifth and final sign, which is really the culmination of all the others. The fifth sign that the universe is actively manifesting with you is what I call the frequency of flow. This is when your life starts to feel less like a struggle and more like a dance. Opportunities begin appearing with less effort on your part. The right people show up at exactly the right time. Resources become available just when you need them. It's as if you've tuned into a cosmic radio station where everything is orchestrated for your highest good. In the frequency of flow, manifestation becomes less about forcing and more about allowing. You still take action, inspired action, but that action feels energizing rather than draining. You start to recognize the difference between pushing against the current and moving with it. This frequency also brings with it a sense of divine timing that goes beyond human impatience. You understand that everything has its season, and you start to trust the rhythm of expansion and contraction, action and rest, giving and receiving. You stop trying to make things happen on your timeline and start collaborating with the universe's timeline, which is always perfect even when it doesn't match your preferences. When you're in the frequency of flow, you become highly sensitive to energy. You can feel when something is aligned for you and when it isn't. You develop what feels like a built-in guidance system that helps you navigate choices with more ease and confidence. Doors that are meant for you open easily, while doors that aren't aligned for you either don't open at all or open with so much resistance that you recognize them as signs to look elsewhere. Perhaps most beautifully, the frequency of flow brings with it a sense of being part of something much larger than yourself. You start to see your individual desires and dreams as threads in a much bigger tapestry, and you understand that as you align with your purpose and follow your joy, you naturally contribute to the evolution and healing of the collective. You might be feeling this frequency emerging in your own life right now. Maybe things that used to feel impossible are starting to feel possible. Maybe you're noticing more ease in areas where you used to struggle. Maybe you're feeling more confident about trusting your intuition and taking risks that feel aligned with your truth. If you're recognizing yourself in any of these 5 signs, I want to ask you something important, and I want you to really think about your answer before you respond. In the comments below, tell me this: what's one synchronicity or sign that you've been receiving lately that you haven't fully trusted yet? What's one message the universe has been trying to give you that you've been too afraid or too skeptical to fully embrace? Your story matters. Your experiences matter. And more than that, sharing your story might be exactly what another person needs to hear to give them permission to trust their own signs and synchronicities. We're all connected in this web of awakening consciousness, and your willingness to share your truth creates ripples that can touch lives in ways you might never know. As we come to the close of our time together, I want to leave you with this truth: You didn't manifest this video just for entertainment or even just for information. You manifested it because your soul is ready to step into a new level of co-creation with the universe. You're ready to stop seeing yourself as separate from the magic and start recognizing yourself as an active participant in it. The 5 signs we've explored, the portal of disruption, the language of synchronicity, the magnetic pull of purpose, the alchemy of trust, and the frequency of flow, these aren't just concepts to understand. They're invitations to a new way of living. They're doorways into a reality where you trust the process, honor your intuition, and collaborate with forces greater than your individual will. But here's what I want you to remember most of all. This isn't about perfection. You don't have to be experiencing all 5 signs simultaneously or with equal intensity. Spiritual evolution is a spiral, not a straight line. You'll cycle through different phases, sometimes feeling deeply connected and other times feeling like you've lost the thread entirely. This is normal. This is part of the process. What matters is your willingness to keep showing up, to keep listening, to keep trusting even when trust feels difficult. What matters is your commitment to seeing your life as sacred, to treating your experiences as meaningful, and to honoring the divine intelligence that flows through you and around you at all times. The universe has been waiting for you to remember who you really are. Not the small, fearful version of yourself that worries about fitting in and playing it safe, but the magnificent, creative, powerful being who came here to contribute something unique to this world. That being, your true self, doesn't manifest through force or desperation. It manifests through alignment, through trust, through joy, and through the deep knowing that you are supported by forces you can feel but might not always be able to see. So as you go forward from this moment, I want you to carry this with you. Every challenge is preparing you for something greater. Every synchronicity is confirming that you're on the right path. Every magnetic pull is guiding you toward your highest good. Every moment of trust is building your spiritual strength. And every time you allow yourself to flow rather than fight, you're stepping more fully into your role as a conscious co-creator with the universe. Your manifestations are already on their way to you. Some you'll recognize immediately when they arrive. Others might look different than you expected, but they'll feel exactly right in ways that matter more than surface appearances. Trust the timing. Trust the process. Trust yourself. And most of all, trust that you wouldn't have been guided to this message unless you were ready to receive what it has to offer. The universe is always speaking to you. Now you know how to listen.